Hello everyone and welcome to Holistic Healing with Deepshika. Today's topic touches on something we all encounter daily: expectations. We have them, others have them from us, and they shape our lives in ways we don't always realize. Expectations can both be motivating and paralyzing. They are complex, and navigating them with intention can make a world of difference. Or that is what I've always heard people say. So today, I decided why not speak about what I have come to realize of expectations. But somehow by the time I finished writing this episode, I realized that it is going to be a long one. So instead of making one long episode, I have broken it into two. So I will cover the first part today and the second next Thursday. To start with, what do we mean by expectations? An expectation is a belief or anticipation that something will happen in a certain manner. This can be a future event, a certain behavior from others, or an outcome that we desire. These expectations are often influenced by our upbringing, culture, personal experiences, and standards set by society. So, when it is something so simple, why do we often hear that have no expectations? Or expectations are the root cause of all pain and misery. I mean, they guide us, help us set goals, and give us a sense of direction. What I now realize is that expectations are not the cause for the pain, but it is how tightly we hold on to them, and of course our ego never makes it easier. There can be different kinds of expectations in life. Expectations we set for ourselves, expectations we have of others, societal expectations, like the pressure to fit into a certain norm, whether about relationships, success, or behavior. When these expectations go unmet, it can create what I call emotional residue. Those lingering feelings that affect our mental health and our relationships with others. Now to explain this with an example. When a baby is hungry, it expects its mother to feed it. Now you cannot tell a child that it should not expect its mother to feed it. Similarly, when a person is ill, he or she expects his or her family to care for him or her. Or when you're driving on the road, you expect people to be sensible and follow rules. The examples are numerous. Now, going a little further, let's take the example of when a person is ill, but does not receive the kind of attention and care as expected by him or her. Now, if instead of concentrating on getting well, the person only thinks about the past that did not fit his or her narrative, of course they are going to be hurt. Similarly, when you're driving on the road and someone does not follow the rules, it can be frustrating. Now the option is with us. One is to be extra careful and another one is to get angry, which we see these days as road rage. Also, please know that when a child cries out of hunger but a mother is not able to immediately attend to it, it continues to cry. But the moment the mother feeds it, it no longer holds on to the fact that there was a delay or the action was not as per its expectation. Instead, it just is present in the moment and happy that it has been fed. And that, I think, is the root cause that causes us the pain and disappointments. Expectations have a profound impact on our mental and emotional well-being. When expectations are reasonable and flexible, they can serve as healthy motivators. For example, expecting yourself to improve gradually at a skill or habit can be both achievable and beneficial. But when expectations become rigid or unrealistic, they can lead to stress, disappointment, and self-criticism. Unmet expectations often lead to feelings of anxiety and depression. If we consistently feel that our efforts don't meet our standards or the standards set by others, it can take a toll on our self-esteem. So an important question to ask ourselves is, are my expectations realistic? And are they serving me? By understanding where our expectations come from, we can begin to dismantle those that don't serve us and start moving towards a healthier mindset. A simple way to do this is by paying attention to how you feel when an expectation is unmet. Do you quickly feel anger, sadness, or frustration? If so, It's a sign that the expectation may be too rigid or disconnected from reality. It may also be a sign that you're holding on to an idea only because it is based in ego. A useful step here can be to embrace flexibility. Life is full of uncertainties, and clinging to a fixed outcome only makes it harder to adapt. When we become flexible with our expectations, we open ourselves to a broader range of possibilities. Another thing to do is to separate a sense of being or validation from certain events, people, and in fact, even relationships. This shift can reduce our attachment to specific outcomes and help us become more resilient in the face of challenges. As we all are aware, one of the most challenging types of expectations to manage is the ones we place on ourselves. Often, we expect people close to us to behave in ways that make us feel comfortable or valued. We may feel disappointed when friends don't show up for us in the way we expect, or frustrated when a partner doesn't understand our needs. In relationships, expectations can silently create distance if we are not mindful of them. We tend to see our relationships through the lenses of these expectations, which can create resentment when people inevitably fall short. And isn't this what often happens? Just because the other person is related to us, and here I'm not talking only of romantic relations, we tend to expect the person to simply know what we are thinking or expecting, and see expressing or telling the other person as a sign of not being loved, not being a priority or important. In fact, a lot of times it is these small disappointments that we put ourselves in the path of that we tend to create walls amongst ourselves. How do we avoid this? Well, communication is the key. Expressing our needs directly can reduce misunderstandings and create more realistic expectations. It's also crucial to recognize that people come with their own experiences, perspectives, and limitations. When we release the need for others to conform to our expectations, we allow them to be who they are. And often, this brings greater harmony to our relationships. I have often heard people say, "What's the point if I have to tell what I want?" To which my question has always been, so what if you have to? At least once you have expressed yourself, and if the other person still does not pay attention, at least now you know for sure what the reality is. Otherwise, you're only working on assumptions. Secondly, why do you want to think for the other person by working yourself up with what should have been done but was not? A powerful exercise for recognizing that we are all different from each other and that at times what may seem obvious to us may not be the same to the other person is to practice empathy and gratitude. Take a moment to see things from the other person's perspective. Better still, just communicate. And even better than that is to understand that all of us have our own speed of learning, growing, and eventually blossoming. At the same time, remember, letting go of expectations doesn't mean that we are lowering our standards. It simply means that we respect each person's journey and allow them space to grow at their own pace. And with this, I'm going to pause this episode here. Join me next episode as I speak more about expectations, especially the ones we set towards ourselves. Thank you for listening to this episode. Have a great week ahead.